What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we are going to compare which jobs are safer, non-union jobs or union jobs, and which ones are better for the working person. Now, I realize this is Union Minded, my channel, and that a lot of folks come by and watch these videos, and some of you guys are not in unions yet. Maybe you don't know which way to go. Maybe you're thinking about going non-union. I hope this helps. Now, for many of you who are in the IBEW, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is a Facebook page called Henry Miller, and I think you guys should follow it. I don't know who runs it, but there's always good information on the Henry Miller page, and they always link to good articles. And today I was on Facebook just browsing, and I saw on Henry Miller's page a post regarding workers' deaths on a job site. So let's read from the Facebook post from the Henry Miller page. Kansas City, Missouri. Banner is up on the AT&T building where the worker fell to his death 14 stories down an elevator shaft due to poor lighting conditions. Working nights by headlamp and cell phone flashlight. Non-union ABC Merit Shop Pro Circuit is the electrical contractor on that site. PARIC is the general contractor on the job site, St. Louis/Kansas City. This is the third death by a fall in an elevator shaft on a PARIC job. A St. Louis crime scene technician talks with two workers near an external elevator at the job site at 1501 Washington Avenue in St. Louis, where two workers were killed when the basket they were working in fell 6 stories down an elevator shaft. Workers' deaths expose numerous unsafe work conditions, false statements, distortion, misdirection by the contractor. And then there's a link to an article. And the image on the picture is of an investigator talking with two workers. But let's go to the article and let's see what the article is about. Now, this article was published in 2018, but I want to see how it relates. This is going to be about workers' deaths that expose numerous unsafe work conditions, false statements, distortion, misdirection by the contractor. This is out of the St. Louis Southern Illinois Labor Tribune, proudly owned by the unions of St. Louis and Southern Illinois. All right, let's dive on in. Laborers 42 had been working to organize the job site by Tim Roden. Joey Hale and Ben Ricks had only been at work for 3 hours when they fell to their deaths June 4th in an elevator shaft at the former International Shoe Company building at 1501 Washington Avenue near the City Museum. Hale, 44, and Ricks, 58, both of St. Louis, were working in a spider basket suspended by a cable operated by a hoist 6 stories up inside the elevator shaft when it fell. Authorities said a safety cable snapped, but that only tells part of the story. If the job was being performed properly, both men should have been harnessed to secondary safety lines, secured outside of the basket to prevent them from falling if the equipment failed. Exactly what happened isn't clear. The City of St. Louis and the U.S. Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, are investigating. What is clear is that health and safety concerns regarding asbestos removal and fall hazards had been raised at the project months before last week's fatal accident. The union workers who reported those concerns were let go and replaced with non-union workers. Here you have an example of union workers raising safety concerns and the management of the company they're working for deciding to get rid of the union workers and bring in non-union workers who will do the job regardless of the safety concerns because they need the work. It's a diabolical game that is played against us. And I want to dive into it just a little bit because it's been going on for so long. It's the reason why our immigration laws are the way that they are, because it allows for a percentage of the population to be illegal immigrants that are working on illegal job sites in illegal conditions. They're having these companies are hiring children to come in and clean their machinery. They're paying politicians to laxen the laws, restricting them from being able to hire children. And they're not hiring the wealthy suburban children. They're hiring poor kids. They're hiring immigrant children. They're hiring the kids who are the most vulnerable are the ones that they're going after. And it's sick that it goes on. But here you go. It's not new. This is not a new trick. This is an old trick that we have to look past. And this is just another example. They got rid of the union workers to bring in the non-union workers to do the unsafe work. GenCorp, the prime contractor for demolition and asbestos abatement on the project, issued a false statement following the accident, claiming that the men killed were active union members and that GenCorp's subcontractor, World Wrecking, had an active signatory contract with Laborers 42 for work on the project. But the company was in violation of the agreement because they were using non-union workers. Labor Tribune is investigating. The Labor Tribune is investigating these and other allegations, including improper asbestos removal and containment, resulting in the exposure to deadly asbestos fibers to workers throughout the job site, as well as neighborhood residents and patrons to the nearby city museum. Fall hazards on the job site, the use of illegal aliens and out-of-state workers for dangerous jobs. What did we just talk about? Failure to keep an accurate log of Latino workers on the job site, putting them at increased risk of injury or death in the event of a fire which occurred on the site or other emergency. So they're not even recording who's coming to work, which means in the case of a catastrophic fire, when they're tallying up everybody at the end of the job, they won't know that Luis, Juan, and Pablo came in today in the morning because they didn't log them in. So if those three don't make it out of the burning building, they'll look at their logs and count them up and say, oh, everything's great, never realizing that 3 men are still in the building. But this is done on purpose. This is not a by accident kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? Inadequate safety training. Of course, who wants you stopping the job on a safety concern? Active promotion of right to work. Curse right to work and everyone who supports that stupid law and who's been bamboozled into thinking it's a pro-worker rule. The fatal job. The former International Shoe Building at 1501 Washington is being converted into the last hotel by Milwaukee developer Feequis. I don't know how to say that. The workers who died were employed by World Wrecking, a subcontractor to GenCorp Services, a site preparation and abatement contractor hired directly by Feequis. Parrick Corporation is the general contractor on the project and was the prime contractor providing framing and other construction services on the top floors of the project on June 4th, the day of the accident. GenCorp is the prime contractor for selective demolition and asbestos abatement services. PARIC and GenCorp have separate contracts with the owner, separate work schedules and insurance, separate entrances to the building, and separate site control for the portion of the project. GenCorp issued a statement claiming that World Wrecking had a signatory contract with Laborers Local 42 on the project, and that Hale and Ricks were both union members. Both had formerly been union members, but were not active union members at the time of the accident. World Wrecking had violated its contract with Local 42 by hiring the non-union workers. World Wrecking had signed a one-time agreement on this job with Laborers Local 42 in January to perform cutting torch work, but the Local 42 members working on the project were let go in March, shortly after they filed a safety and health complaint with OSHA regarding improper asbestos containment and fall hazards conditions at the job site. That complaint is still open. At the time they were let go, the Local 42 members were told the cutting torch work they were performing was ahead of schedule and the rest of the job was running behind, so there was no work for them to perform. World Wrecking then replaced them with Ricks and Hale, the 2 men who were killed. This article goes on into more detail, and I'd love for you guys to read it, so I'm going to put it in the description box. But I just want you to understand, union jobs are the safe jobs, are the way to go. Non-union jobs will put your safety at risk. So when you have a choice, union yes, non-union no. My name's Eric. You're watching Union Minded. Remember, the fight's not left and right. It's up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win. Always. Each one, teach one, get out there and reach one. And there could be no union without you and I front and center. Peace.